Hello, course participants. Today we'll be covering social science research in the context of interrupted travel and limited access to sites. Typically, I host an archaeological field school each summer where students and other community members gather to learn about field methodology, get to work together as a team to excavate a site, recover and identify artifacts. Of course, that's off this summer. We won't be gathering on site and working in close proximity to one another, and neither will most archaeologists this summer. So today I want to focus on some of the tools, techniques, and technologies that we can use from home or on our own when we have limited or no access to our research sites. We can still work as a team, we can still gather data, even if we're working alone at home. So in your readings today and videos and other activities, you're going to see a few of these methodologies. One of these is GIS, which stands for Geographic Information Systems. GIS is more than just a software. There are software platforms for you to use GIS, but it's really a system, a way of organizing and using spatial data. It's much more than just building pretty maps, although you can build really nice maps. And we're going to be working toward that over the next few days. In your reading today, Buckle 2020, you're going to see some examples of how the author collected data from many different research participants in different locations, and then used GIS as a tool to bring that data together in a single presentation style. Another example of data that we can review from home that makes it feel like we're out there in the world is LiDAR. In a TED Talk that I've linked for you today by Dr. Sarah Parsak, she talks about how she's a space archaeologist. What she means by this is that she uses aerial imagery that she can manipulate using GIS software to help cast depressions and buried things in the ground into relief so that they can be seen from a computer screen. And she's created a tool called Global Explorer and mobilized a team of researchers to help look at her LiDAR data. She's processed it. All you have to do as a researcher is look at it and review it. This is almost like, when you're logging into a website and it asks you to prove you're not a robot and tick the boxes that contain a crosswalk or a car. That's the internet's way of crowdsourcing visual data, and they're getting you to help every time you log in. We're also going to look at a much more low-tech way of collecting data, a little closer to home for us here in Seacoast, New Hampshire, the Maine Midden Minders Project. So middens are ancient indigenous shell trash piles. A midden just means trash pit in archaeological lingo. Some of these oyster shell middens are huge. Some of them are smaller and have been buried and are at risk of eroding because they're nearby waterways where oysters would have been harvested. So archaeologists can't necessarily go out and find and protect every oyster midden in the area. So they've mobilized a team of researchers to document when they locate a midden and to send in the data, and also to monitor it over time after a big storm or a flooding event. Has the midden been impacted negatively? So for today's activity, you're going to do what we can do in one day, a version of you crowdsourcing some data from either your classmates or maybe just your friends or your family. It can be any group that you want. You'll come up with a research question like, what dog parks are open right now? Or what little free libraries are stocked with books in my neighborhood or my suburb? And what this is an example of, what all of these really are an example of, is a version of applied science called community science, also known as citizen science or crowdsourced science. So community science is both a public and a participatory science, meaning that it's open to the public to see the data collection, to see the results, but it also encourages participation in the science and in the scientific process. And one of the benefits of engaging in community science, both for academics and for community members, is that we're able to advance academic research, of course, but also we are increasing the public's understanding and involvement in science. The more the public understands the research process and feels a part of it, the more they're committed to helping and to seeing the beneficial outcome of scientific research. So let me know if you have any questions, and I'm looking forward to seeing the research questions you come up with and the crowdsourced data that you assemble that we'll put together in a story map over the next couple days.